So we are starting a very, very important chapter for your NEET examination. So the name of chapter is Cell Cycle and Cell Division. So as you can see, class 11th NCERT textbook, unit 3, chapter 10. So this is the chapter that we are going to teach you. This is cell cycle and cell division. And as you can see that what are the subtopics, we will look at the cell cycle, then the M phase, significance of mitosis, then another type of cell division which is meiosis, and significance of meiosis. So please understand the importance of this topic. Unless and until you have a very sound basic knowledge of the cell division, then you will not be able to comprehend the genetics part very easily. So this is a stepping stone, this is a basic foundation that is required for a clear understanding of the forthcoming chapters, the chapters which are coming ahead, say for example genetics to name one. So this is a very, very important topic you must understand. If you can understand the cell division well, you will understand the process of growth in organisms, you will understand even how the crops are improved, so there will be plant tissue culture. All these sorts of topics, they require a basic understanding of this fundamental process which is called as cell cycle and cell division, where in this topic I will be introducing the first part of it, which is called as the cell cycle. Now please understand very clearly some of the very important fundamental aspects of this particular chapter. All organisms, whether they are unicellular or multicellular, they have begun their life as a single cell. So take an example of a human being. So a human being will have more than or in excess of 50 trillion cells. But please remember that we started our life as a single cell zygote. And it is because of the process of cell division and a huge amount of cell division, you can understand the magnitude of the cell division that will be involved in the formation of the adult human body, where one cell divides, and ultimately the daughter cells divide and differentiate. They become specialized to perform a particular function, and then this complex body of the human being is formed, which has in excess of 50 trillion cell. Can you imagine what I am talking about? So organisms during their lifetime also grow in size. We have already read in NCERT in previous chapter that growth in multicellular organism is because of cell division. So growth in multicellular organism is because of cell division. I am talking of, say for example, in plants and say for example in animals. You have already read in your chapter number 1 about growth being a characteristic of life but not a defining feature. We know that non-living things can also grow, but growth from within is a feature of living organism. But this growth inherently implies an increase in the number of cell, and that increase in the number of cell will be because of cell division. And moreover, what will happen, there will be not only large number of cells that will be formed, there will be different types of cells that will be formed. And I want to say that there will be some cells that will be performing a particular function, other cells will be performing a particular function in an organism which has a good amount of complexity in their body design, and this part will be called as differentiation. And another important aspect of formation of multicellular organisms in the living world. So this is very, very easy to understand that we are looking at something very important. One more consideration would be this. We know from evolution and origin of life, we know that there was abiogenesis first. So first, or the protocell on this earth was formed from the biochemical evolution of inorganic chemicals. This we know. But once the first life got established on the surface of earth, it has been biogenesis since then, which means life now comes only from pre-existing life. Yes, I am talking of reproduction. That will also employ another particular type of division. So this is very, very important to understand. So we are are looking at growth, we are looking at reproduction, we are looking at healing of the injuries, we are looking at repair of injuries, we are looking at replacement of the lost cells. Say for example, the epithelium being continuously shed from the body, they have to be replaced by continuously dividing cell. We will see in plants that the growth may occur throughout the lifespan, but in animals after a particular age the growth stop. Yet there is a huge amount of cell division that is going on, that is involved in the replacement of the lost cells. So all in all, you can understand that this has to be a very, very important fundamental of living organism. Moreover, it has to be very finely regulated process, which means there cannot be uncontrolled, unregulated proliferation of cell. The cell division, when I say that I want to replace the lost cell, that means that it must be regulated to the number. Whatever the number is lost, it must be replaced. There cannot be uncontrolled activity of the cell. And we know that this uncontrolled, non-regulated, excessive proliferation of cell may lead to development of a very, very dangerous disease, which is capital C, that is otherwise also called as cancer. So please understand. So we will see the abnormality of the cell division leading to the development of the dreaded disease, which is cancer. So I hope you have understood right at the beginning that what is the importance of this particular topic in the understanding of biology as a whole. So after this, let me come to this specific topic, what is called as a cell cycle. So I will begin with showing you a diagram. So I am going to begin with showing you a diagram, and let us see what exactly is meant by a cell cycle. So as you can see in this diagram, the source is given here. This is what we will acknowledge. This diagram has been taken from this particular source. This is the credit goes to. It's a beautiful diagram, and you can study from the source more about the diagram as well. So as you can see, this is a cell. So these are newly formed cells. You can see there has been cell division. This is the formation of new cell. This cell has divided to perform new cell. This cell performs the function it is supposed to perform, and then it decides to divide. It replicates its DNA. You can see this magnified thing has been showing you that DNA has been replicated. So it will replicate its DNA, it will replicate its content, and then will divide the duplicated contents into the daughter cell, and these daughter cells will finish the cell cycle. So this is what is called as a cell cycle. I can show you another diagram here, and this diagram would be an animal cell cycle. So as you can see that this is the various stages that a cell undergoes, and ultimately at the end of the cell cycle it actually divides into daughter cells, and in between it performs the function it is supposed to perform. And it may happen that when it decides to divide, there will be some series of events that will take place, which will include inevitably the replication of DNA, whether it is a prokaryotic cell or a eukaryotic cell, doesn't matter. Every cell division must be preceded by the replication of DNA. That is very, very important. Similarly, we can also see that this is what is called as a plant cycle. Again, you can see the acknowledgements given below. These are some very, very interesting and very beautiful images that have been taken from these sources, and you can actually follow this source and read more about them. You may not be able to comprehend right in this video what exactly is written. I will strongly advise you that these are such beautiful images, you can follow them there. So similarly, you can say the same thing happens in the plant cell, obviously with some variations with respect to the animal cells. So what we have understood by looking at these diagrams, that a cell that is formed then performs the function, and if it thinks so that it needs to replicate, then it synthesizes DNA or replicates DNA, similarly synthesizes the other material that includes organelles, and ultimately will lead to division, and which division means that there will be distribution of the already duplicated contents during the time of cell division into the resultant daughter cells. So this is what we are saying the life cycle of a cell is about. So that is what I am saying, that that this cell cycle can be called as a life cycle of cell. What happens during the life of a cell? So once again I am saying it is a series or sequence of events. So when a cell is formed, then there is a series or sequence of events where the cell actually performs the function it is supposed to perform, and sooner or later, if at all it decides to divide, it actually replicates its DNA, and once it replicates its DNA, then the sole purpose of replicating the DNA is to divide. And that means I am trying to say that if a cell actually replicates the DNA, it becomes committed to divide, then makes other preparations for the exact process of the cell division, and ultimately divides into two daughter cells, and these daughter cells receive roughly in equal proportion the contents that have been replicated during the time when the cell is not dividing in its life cycle. So this is how we will try to define the cell cycle. So if you read your NCERT, this is the gist of the introductory part that NCERT is trying to tell you, that I have been able to that I have been telling you about. And please understand, let me go straight away to one more diagram to understand the cell cycle in detail. So what we are saying, that what happens during the cell, during the life cycle of a cell. So let us say something like this, that it may be either dividing or not dividing. Can you see what I am saying? That there may be a phase where the cell is actually dividing, or I am saying that rest of the part of the life cycle where the cell is not dividing. So I am dividing the cell cycle into two parts. One which is called as the interphase here, where the cell is actually not dividing, but actually maybe preparing for divide. It is very important to understand the nuances that I am trying to tell you. So I am saying the life cycle of the cell would be actually having two periods. One, when it is not dividing, this would be called as interphase. But please remember that in this phase the cells may actually be preparing to divide. They may be synthesizing DNA, as you can see. They may be synthesizing some proteins and some enzymes that will be required during the process of the cell division, and once they have prepared, they may be performing the function as I told you in this particular phase, and once they are completely prepared to divide, going after all these sequential stages. So these are the sequential stages in the interphase. Then the cell actually decides to divide, and this would be called as the mitotic phase. In the mitotic phase, we are talking of a cell cycle of a eukaryotic cell. If a nucleus is present, then there will be mitosis, and mitosis is the division of the nucleus, and then there will be division of the cytoplasm, which is called as cytokinesis. Together this is called as the M phase or the mitotic phase. So please understand, mitotic phase would be mitosis and cytokinesis. So either the cell is in mitotic phase or is in interphase. This is all that happens during the life cycle of a cell. Obviously we will modify this concept with some more complexities in the coming videos. So what I am trying to say, that the cell either undergoes division or is not undergoing division. So between two successive divisions, I am calling the division phase as the mitotic phase. So mitotic phase is the dramatic phase where the replicated contents, the contents which have been already replicated, nothing is getting replicated during the mitotic phase. Let me be absolutely clear about this in the beginning. So the replication has been done, the duplication has been done when the cell is not dividing. In this particular stage, it is actually at the end where the already replicated or duplicated contents are roughly equally distributed into the daughter cells, and the cell otherwise is not dividing. We are calling it as interphase. So these are the two main things that you must understand. So cell may be either in interphase when it is not dividing, and cell may be in the mitotic phase where the dramatic events of the actual division of the cell take place. And this mitotic phase, if it is a eukaryotic cell, there would be mitosis, which would be karyokinesis. Karyon means nucleus, that means division of the nucleus. That will be followed by cytokinesis, which will be division of the cytoplasm, resulting in the formation of two daughter cells, and these daughter cells, because we are talking of a mitotic division, they will be genetically identical to each other. You have seen this type of concept in your class 9th NCERT as well. So I hope this thing is absolutely clear. Mind you, again I am telling you that in an interphase, the cell may actually be performing the function that it is required to perform. Then if it decides, will replicate its DNA. Once replicates DNA, becomes committed to divide, makes final preparation for the cell division, and then actually divides. This is the sequence or the series that I am talking about of a cell cycle, especially with respect to eukaryotic cell. So let me just ponder over the cell division in the prokaryotic cell as well. So we know organisms like bacteria, the unicellular organisms, kingdom Monera, they divide by binary fission. So you know what is binary fission from your class 10th NCERT. So one cell divides into two. So this is what is called as binary fission. In chapter 1 of your NCERT, we have told you this is the reason that we are very confused between this type of cell division that is taking place in the prokaryotic cell, because we are not absolutely sure whether to call it as a growth, which is also a number, increase in the number of cells, or to call it as reproduction. Because if it is reproduction, then which is parent and which is progeny? It is a single cell that has actually split into two. So that particular thing is not applicable here, and therefore we are saying, we have said in class 1 in class 11th chapter 1 that growth and reproduction, we are not absolutely sure about their definitions, and therefore they are not the defining properties of the life. I hope this is absolutely clear. But one thing is absolutely sure, whether it is a eukaryotic cell or a prokaryotic cell, before division the DNA has to replicate. So please understand, even bacteria have chromosomal DNA. So generally bacteria have one chromosome. This chromosome is circular. Some bacteria may have extra chromosomal DNA as well, but I am talking of the main chromosomal DNA. So generally bacterial chromosome is solitary, one in number. It is double-stranded, it is circular, and it carries a double-stranded DNA. So let me rephrase it again. I am saying that there is normally one chromosome in bacteria per cell, and this chromosome carries a double-stranded DNA molecule. But this DNA molecule has to replicate before the cell division. Unless and until there is DNA replication, the cell is not going to divide. I will give you a very, very important example. What happens in the mature human RBCs? Since the mature human RBCs do not have any DNA, so the mature RBCs before their death are not capable of dividing and producing new RBCs. This is a very important point to understand, and that is why I will have to make RBCs in the bone marrow from the embryo, from the stem cells, and these stem cells, they actually in the initial stages have DNA as well as the nucleus. So, and if when they increase in number a lot, only then they are able to extrude DNA from the cell and accommodate hemoglobin. I hope you are absolutely clear about this. So what we are seeing, that there has to be DNA replication first, and if nucleus is present, then the nucleus will divide, and then there will be cytokinesis leading to the separation of the two daughter cell. This is the sequence. This will happen in eukaryotes, this will happen in prokaryotes as well. So now if we think about prokaryotes, we say that their life cycle is actually having B, C and D phases. Now this B phase is after the formation of the cell till it replicates its DNA. This stage would be B. And in the C stage there will be replication of DNA, and then there is the final preparation for division, and this leads to binary fission or the formation of two daughter cell. So that means formation of cell till replication B, replication will be C, and then the following stage which lead to binary fission would be called as D. This would be the terminology that we will use in the context of prokaryotic cell, but in a eukaryotic cell I will say that there is an interphase and then there is a mitotic phase, and it is not as simple as it seems. Now when we come back, we will look at the various subdivisions of the interphase, the various subphases that are present in the interphase. what are the unique things that are happening in the each stage, and then later on we will look at mitosis, we will look at meiosis as well, a very special type of cell division, and the process of the cytokinesis in both plant and animal cell. I hope you have understood the basic introductory aspects of the cell division. Please watch this video very intently, read your NCERT well, and then you will be ready to watch the next videos that we are going to present to you. Thank you so much.